Hey everybody, welcome back to another Horror Pack unboxing. Woohoo! Horror Pack. It's been a minute. I almost forgot how this goes. I got a little late last month. The movies were... It was hard to get excited to watch them. And I had so much else going on as we get into the spooky season that I just didn't quite get there. Plus eye infections, just all kinds of crazy stuff going on. I'm still fighting it a little bit. Can you still see the eye trauma? Yeah, it's still there a little bit. It was so much worse 2 days ago. Don't worry about it, I'm working on it. You know, I'm going to the doctors and all that stuff. It's mostly a new allergy has developed, or I've got like a really bad, cold or something. I don't know. I'm taking care of it. But anyways, we're here to open up Horror Pack, and if you don't know, Horror Pack is an exciting subscription service where I believe it's like $25 a month. In full disclosure, they send this to me for free. I'm not paid, I can say whatever I want, but they do send me the box for free, so it makes me, they like my reviews, apparently. So we're gonna open it up, we're gonna see the movies, I'm gonna watch them and review them. I'll get married to watch at least one, as I usually do. And basically, 25 bucks plus shipping, or shipping included, I'm sorry, I suck. It's in the description below. And I chose Blu Ray, you can also choose DVD. You're gonna get at least four, sometimes more, awesome horror movies every month, and one of those is gonna be an exclusive that you can only get in Horror Pack as of the release of that box. Now, I do have a huge movie collection if you're new here and you may not know, so I tend to have a lot of stuff I've already got, but it gives me a good excuse to go rewatch that and then review it for you all. So I do have fun doing that. Also, if you want to get $3 off your first Horror Pack, I have a code you can use, Bloody Butts, all one word, all caps, BLOODYBUTTS. Bloody Butts will save you $3 on your first Horror Pack. And a lot of times it's been really great. Sometimes it's, but I do still appreciate them and what they do. And then it comes like that inside the box. We're gonna open this up, we're gonna take it out, we're gonna toss that box in the floor, and I'm gonna try to look at the spines just to see the number so I can open these in the way I like to open them, because we like to keep the exclusive towards the end. And I try to do this so I don't cheat myself. All right, I got it. All right, let's see what we got. I'm gonna look at these, I'm gonna read you the box, and we're gonna review them. I'll play you the trailers while I will review them. Let's go. First movie up. Ooh, I do not have, nor have I seen this. Slender Man. Okay. Vaguely familiar with this urban legend. And this is, let's find me some good light to read in. I'm old now, and I have trouble. Scary, chilling, and thrilling, says somebody. You know what, let's just get the light. I should have brought a flashlight over. That's fine. This is why I have two phones. One to film on, one to light with. That's not why I have two phones, but it does come in handy. Horror Pack. I should do that. All right, let's try again. Scary, chilling, and thrilling, says Avi Offer, NYC movie guru. Includes behind the scenes with the cast. In a small town in Massachusetts, a group of friends perform a ritual in an attempt to debunk the lore of Slender Man. When one of them goes mysteriously missing, they begin to suspect that she is, in fact, his latest victim. Oh, we got a Movies Anywhere code in here, if it's still good. You remember when digital copies used to be good for like 5-6 years? What's up with this 2-year BS lately? I've lost a lot of digital copies because I didn't put them in time. It's pissing me off. Anyways, it's, let's see, what are we at here? We got... Looking for it. 93 minutes, rated PG-13. Okay. So this might be what I get married to watch. We'll see. Oh, Sony PG-13. That's all right. I do want to see that. So I'm excited I got something I don't have and that I do actually kind of want to see. Already, that's more exciting than anything I got last month. And again, that's just personal taste. Some of the stuff last month actually turned out to be pretty good, but it was hard to get excited about it. All right, next up, we have one with a slipcase. So that's always cool too, because again, for me, this is about being a physical collector, and especially as y'all know, digital is getting worse and worse. It's starting to show signs of what we always feared and always assumed would happen, which is they're just starting to get rid of stuff. And now it becomes like a royalties thing, so they're getting rid of more stuff. That's why physical is important. Plus, they can't re-edit, they can't change cover art on you. That's a big nitpick for me. Excuse me. Again, I am dealing with something right now. But let's see what we got. We got... I don't really know what this is, but okay. I can't tell if that's... Sorry, bear with me. Kicking blood? Licking blood. I guess it's kicking blood. A vampire love story. XYZ Films. Okay, I'm unfamiliar. But that's pretty cool. Wow, the back of the box is almost Horror Pack exclusive worthy. Sorry, I had to throw the zinger in. You guys know I give you shit about this all the time. But, of course, you know, it's more of a traditional back here. So we're going to look at that while we read through it. But you can see why I had a little trouble. It's like, is that eye licking blood? But it's kicking blood, I guess. All right. Anna has been living in a haze of psychedelic blood bliss for as long as she can remember. Her hedonistic existence is challenged when she falls for Robbie, a charming alcoholic, one night. That's a weird sentence. He is looking for a drink. She is looking for a feed. They bond. It would have been funnier to be like, he is looking for a drink, and so is she, because they've already established he's a vampire. Write a better blurb, people. He is looking for a drink. She is looking for a feed. They bond. This puts her at odds with her true murderous nature and the wrath of her vampire clan, so she has vowed to quit blood and become human again. Is that how that works? Is that how that works? Granted, you can write whatever vampire lore you're doing if you're doing your own universe, but in general, that's not how that works. Sorry, I'm in a mood. I'm just giving some poop here. So we have 2022. It's a Canadian film. Okay, that's fine. I got no problem with that. 79 minutes, so at least it's a tight 79. Looking through the credit block, not really seeing any names I recognize from other things. Yeah, and does not claim any special features, so it does have a quote from Dread Central. They do some good stuff. Oozes cool. Okay. Let's see what number 3 is, and then we'll see what the special is. Number 3, what you gonna be? They actually gave me 3. This means they will give me 4 movies I do not own. And I don't know anything about this either. This one seems a little hard. I don't even know what month we're in. Are we in the August horror pack? I usually say that. Again, I'm out of practice. Okay. That's another Sony. So at least it's R. Anyways, we've got whatever this is. Possession of Hannah Grace. Is it? Oh, The Possession of Hannah Grace. Does have the Movies Anywhere digital that hopefully is still good. Ooh, spooky. An intense experience, says Avi Offer of NYCMovieGuru.com again. A shocking exorcism spirals out of control, claiming the life of a young woman. Months later, Megan Reed, Shay Mitchell, is working the graveyard shift in the morgue when she takes delivery of a disfigured cadaver. Locked alone inside the basement corridors, Megan begins to experience horrifying visions and starts to suspect that the body may be possessed by a ruthless demonic force. Makes me want to go watch The Autopsy of Jane Doe again. That is a great movie. I'm just saying. Special features include a deleted scene, an autopsy of Hannah, Megan's diaries, and killer cast. The digital expired in 2020. When did this movie even come out? 2018. So it's one of those 2-year window bullshits. That's such bullshit, dude. Anyways, what do we got on the running time here? 85 minutes, so at least it's tight. Screen Gems. I'm not really recognizing any other names in this one either. It's weird that of these 3, Slender Man is the one I'm actually excited for. All right, let's see what the exclusive is. I swear, though, when they get around the spooky months, it gets really good. But let's see what the exclusive is. Okay, this actually looks kind of... Oh, hey, I know some people. Or at least know... well, I know. So we got the Frankenstein Syndrome Horror Pack Limited Edition Blu Ray. Oh, actually, okay, I'm very excited for this. Woo, and the back looks good. So we got the Frankenstein Syndrome. This is actually, you know what, this is going to be one of those rare months that I'm most excited for their exclusive. We'll talk about why in just a second. But we got Tiffany Shepis, yes, horror queen, indie horror queen, trauma queen from James Gunn's Romeo and Juliet, one of her first, if not her first movie, where she broke Stephen Blackheart's nose kicking him with giant heels. And the coolest thing is, she's like a regular on Star Trek, not Picard. Was it Picard? No, yes? Yeah, she was in the last season of Picard as the medical officer, and I think that's because her husband, who made this film, writes for that show, Sean Tretta. Wait, am I right? Is that right? I think I'm right. I might be wrong on that. That might not be her husband. What I said about Star Trek is true. Anyways, I'm excited for this. One of my favorite indie movies of the last 20 years, says Joe Bob Briggs. Hell yeah. All right. Oh man, I may watch this one tonight. Wow. Again, we got the spine with, can't see it because of the plastic. But we are up to, geez, I can barely see it. We're up to 86. And again, there's some actual like design and layout going on here. Printing's a little weak. All right, so anyways, the Frankenstein Syndrome. One of the best films birthed from Mary Shelley's masterpiece, says AICN. No idea. A group of researchers led by Dr. Elizabeth Barnes, Tiffany Shepard, Star Trek Picard, while conducting underground illegal stem cell research, discover a cell anomaly that has the potential to regenerate dead tissue and restore life itself. When a security guard, David Doyle, Scott Lee of Argo, threatens to sue the research company and wants to leave the project, he is promptly murdered and used as a test subject. David returns to life, but he is not the same man he once was. Not only are his personality and memories changed. Okay, I changed that. Let me read that exactly as it's written, by the way. You need an editor, or your editor slipped. Here's how it's actually written. Not only are his personality and memory changed, actually that makes sense, never mind. But he appears to have acquired psychic and telekinetic powers, as well as an increased strength and aggression. David begins to act outside the researchers, who all at once are his captors, murderers, and creators. Special features include an audio commentary. Those are not as common as they need to be. I need more commentaries in my life. And that's going to be with director Sean Tretta, who I'm pretty sure is Tiffany's husband. The more I think about it. Tiffany Shepard and Dustin Lowry. Sorry, it's a little hard to read, especially where it's a little dark here. Theatrical and alternate trailers. Bay 14, a short film from Tretta Inc., Tretta family. Okay, nice. Let me read through this little credit block real quick, see if I recognize any other names. It's a little more likely, but not guaranteed. No. Okay. And yeah, written and directed. 88 minutes, surround sound. Awesome. All right, well, now is the time on Sprockets when we dance. Actually, it's the time on the Horror Pack unboxing when I go watch these movies, and now I'm going to tell you what I think about them. Enjoy. Slender Man. More like Sleepy. You stole my joke. Sleepy Man is my other joke. Yeah, we've been doing the melody to a certain advertisement. So I don't at all ever really care or pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes stuff, but it was a little off-putting when we opened up the digital and it says 8% critics and 16% audience. So we watched it, and I'll admit in the first half, I didn't necessarily think it was good, but it was good enough to be at least kind of engaging, and I was kind of on the ride.
Sometime during the first half of the it's like, is this movie unriffable? Because that again, where it's that middling.
Yeah. Although I will say, I think the beginning of this is maybe a little more than just the middle boring, because at least I'm like, I'm kind of into the characters and where we're going and what we're going to do with this. But then when we start doing stuff with it, it's so boring. And Mary's right. Like, turn on a fucking light.
Yeah, this town apparently does not believe in lights.
Yeah, or because these kids like never turn on lights.
The public library barely lit.
Yeah. Although at one point Mary was
Hospital barely lit.
Yeah, Mary was like, maybe just go find a person. I'm like, well, in 2018 in the library, that might be harder than you think.
Fucking library. There's always at least a library.
Yeah, I know. I was being silly about it, but
it's like, you're doing your makeup in the fucking dark. What the hell?
Yeah. And honestly, like, I don't know, like, I feel like there's something creepy you could do with, like, we're familiar with where Slender Man came from and all of that, but there is something creepy you could do with a Slender Man movie. They did not do it. I would look back to, like, for inspiration, The Conjuring's, like, The Thin Man or something. But, I mean, here, it's really cheesy, and, like, the whole thing of, like, putting like a bunch of the images real quick to code your brain or whatever, like even that is just undercooked and not played with. Even the whole concept of Slender Man as it's presented here of like, oh, well, you know, if you never deal with it, fine. But if you want, he'll come and take you away and you'll just disappear forever. It's like, well, then why the fuck would you even try doing? I mean, I kind of get it. I kind of get that, you know, kids are dumb and like, ooh, spooky. I'm going to do that because it's such bullshit.
Bloody Mary or
Yeah.
Man or
Yeah.
whatever.
Although those are far better versions. I will say, too, I do like the design of Slender Man in general. But in this movie, especially where everything's so fucking dark, I joked near the end, even the cinematographer needs to turn on a fucking light. Because there's one moment, there was one moment, I don't want to spoil anything necessarily, but there was one moment that was kind of creepy as Slender Man. Like of him coming out of a wall. I was like, okay, that was kind of effective. And then there's one near the end where he kind of becomes a big thing. But that should have been a lot creepier and scarier to me than it was. But I mean, you could hardly see it. And I was so bored with the rest of everything by then. It's like, we know where this is going. We know what the characters are going to do. Just get there and get it over with. And, you know, I'm going to go turn on a light because I'm tired of how dark everything is. But yeah, what do you I've said a lot. You get some feelings, I know.
I pretty much the same. It's like, probably the freak out in the library. Are we doing spoilers?
Mild. If you can keep it mild. Like if you say freak out in the library, that's fine. We can go with that.
Yeah, that's just like, that was probably the best sequence.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that as one of the best ones. Yeah, because there's not a lot really to pull from. Not a lot of competition. Jesus, in this movie. 4 awesome sequences. So, yeah, I would agree that that's probably the best one.
Just out of curiosity, how do you feel about a monster that basically there is no fighting against? The only way to win is to never engage in the first place?
Well, I think that can be done well. Like if you look at the Final Destination series. You know, like the whole thing is finding the loophole around it or trying to find the loophole around it. And I think in those situations, that's what makes those movies work is that, you know, maybe somebody does, maybe doesn't, somebody doesn't, but they're trying to, and maybe it's going to work, maybe it doesn't. But there's none of that this here. So I think that's also part of the problem. There's no real attempt to fight it off. Well, there is a little bit without getting spoilery, but it's like super light and subtle. And I think that's also part of the problem is even though these kids like that, I think the actors that portrayed these kids are good because there's enough charisma going around that can fight against not great writing that I kind of, you know, I can enjoy the kids.
Yeah, you kind of care about them.
But at the end of the day, they don't really do anything and they're too dumb for their own good. And I kept joking, it's like, this is what happens when you raise your kids without showing them horror movies. And also, this is 2018, and I feel like this should have been a 2003 film. Like, it feels like of that era. It feels like at least a generation ago kind of horror film, because this movie's not that old. So, yeah, not that I expected a lot from this movie, but I got a good deal less than I expected. Although, it could have been worse. So, it's not as bad as can be. I was like, oh, yeah, no, I can see why this just kind of disappeared. Nobody cared. Not something I really care to ever see again. I would skip it on TV if I'm looking for even out of boredom. And I guess if nothing else for my curiosity, I'm glad I watched it once, but I don't even know that was really worth it.
I feel like the better movie would have been like the crime drama version of the real life events.
Well, yeah. Some of that would be a more interesting story to tell. I think the better version of this movie is maybe actually going a little more Stephen King with it or It with it, and maybe being a little bit more like maybe not the kids' perspective doing it, but more like the adults in the town and the family, like what the fuck is going on with our kids.
Yeah.
And then one of them goes down the rabbit hole of like, oh, this is this weird, silly challenge that children are doing these days, the teens are doing these days, and you know, then somehow they uncover that it's really happening. Again, that's even kind of cliche, but I think that would be the better telling of this style of this story.
I agree.
You know, to make it the kid's perspective, I think you could do one that's the kid's perspective, but you got to make it a lot creepier than this. You got to have better imagery, better lighting. And again, not that the lighting's terrible. There was just definitely a decision made here to keep everything super dark and barely show anything ever.
My other issue is that, like, there is, like, no is the fact that we don't see really the adults going like, our kids are clearly freaking out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's given me similar thoughts on Exorcist Believer, but kind of flipped a little bit. But which I talk about in a future vlog. But yeah, I think that would add to it too. And just to go on about the cinematography, I think the cinematography for what they were trying to do is well done. I just don't agree with the choices they were aiming for. Because, you know, I don't think the cinematography, the lighting is bad. I just don't like how it was done.
It's like, yo, turn on some fucking lights.
Yeah.
Because you're a human. Unless you have really good dark vision, you need to turn on some fucking lights.
And then even that, like, just give a beat where they turn it on and do the cliche thing where it turns itself back off or something. Yeah. You know, like, if you really want to keep it in the dark, like, just don't annoy us with that. They would never, they're creeped the fuck out. They're, you know, they're terrified by something stalking them and no one ever turns on a light. Bullshit. I'm 44, and still once in a blue moon, I'll get a tiny tinge of paranoia that there's something down those stairs, and I'll turn on a goddamn light.
I turn on a goddamn light and arm myself.
Yeah, well, also, Mary's really good about leaving all the lights on in the house and making me feel like that cliche dad that has to follow everybody around room to room and turn off all the lights. Just one of those weird idiosyncrasies of being older now. Love you.
I love you too.
Okay, yeah, but at the same time, like, leaving your office light on when you're going to go work in the yard at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The overhead.
Where that was on.
Oh, that you regularly will do that. I wasn't going to get too deep into it. I'm not that mad about it. I think it's funny. It's kind of charming. But I definitely have... It's what cracks me up is the me walking around being like, how many lights do we have to leave on in this house? Yeah, apparently. And I mean, I leave some on too, but I feel like, you know.
I try to at least make sure if I'm going into the office to turn them off before I leave.
Yeah, you don't, but it's fine. Oh, in the daytime, yeah. No, when you go to work, when you have to go leave the house for work. No. It really is more like you've had them on because you've been working in your home office, and then you're gonna go work in the yard till like 4 hours. And like, why are these on?
I forgot they were on.
I know.
It was daytime, and I forgot they were on.
It's the same reason I find your phone everywhere. But I'm perfect, so, you know, that's...
Oh, right. You are so perfect. You are the most perfect.
Somebody clip that. That's the end of the video. We aren't going to say anything else. All right. Now I think we made our feelings clear on Slender Man. Nice try, but... Yeah. Just kidding. That's for Mary. Fucking Chucky. Kicking blood. You really can't see this in the red, can you? Oh, well, it's appropriate. This, I was a little concerned about, but you know what? This turned out to be really, really good. I just finished watching it a few minutes ago. I would not say it's as on par with, say, The Love Witch or something like that, and it's definitely its own thing, but it certainly has a little of that vibe going on. There's definitely some good use of style and a director that has a vision of how to tell the story and handles that very well. Performances and everything are mostly good. You know, a little wonky in some of the stuff in the beginning, maybe with the guy, but overall really good. I like the depiction of what it's like for the vampires to drink blood and what that does for them and how their kind of group works together and whatnot. There's a certain sparseness to this that works in its favor. It's not overly cluttered with detail in its visuals, but it does a good job painting with light to keep interesting visualizations happening. I did find myself connecting to the characters and actually going on their journey, whether I thought I would or not when it started, not necessarily, but it did suck me in. And I like where it kind of all landed, mostly. I'm on the fence where I'm at with the ending. I'm not going to spoil anything. I have to process it more. I don't really know where I feel about that. But the rest of it's pretty good. The couple of moments where there's kind of a use of music and it almost starts to feel like a overly artsy music video, but I don't mean that with any negative. Like, it totally works. It's, again, used sparingly. It's not all over the place. Just one or two times where it almost stands out, but then it kind of becomes really cool. So it's cool that it stands out. I also got elements of, like, say, near dark from this. There's just a little bit of that, just a little flavoring of that in here for sure as another influence. And I honestly had a really good time with this one. It drew me in. It maintained everything. You know, I mean, it is, I would say, methodically paced, but it's not dull. It doesn't really drag. It certainly kept my attention, even if my attention, you know, where I'm maybe a couple of drinks in, wanted to drift, the movie would start really pulling me back into it. And I'm not saying it's the most expensive looking film by any means, but it's certainly a film, again, that has some real talent going on behind it, and feels like, you know, they probably got a lot more done with what they had than we even know. Because again, it was a really nice looking film, like even from set decoration and the simplicity of costuming and everything in this. I feel like I should say a little bit more, so the trailer makes sure it fits in here, but I just really enjoyed it. It's kind of a very simple film without really giving too much away. It's sort of a sweet film. Maybe there's like a dash of true romance in here, like just a tiny dash of that. It's another movie I love, that, you know, I guess it kind of would put me in the mood to watch. Definitely a movie I'm glad I watched. Definitely a movie I thank you, Horror Pack, for turning me on to. And a movie I would certainly watch again. And something like, you know, if it ended up on, like, say, The Last Drive-In or something, that'd be pretty cool. I would be interested in how that would go over for people and how that would play with Joe Bob Briggs' commentary. But yeah, I had a really good time with that. So, sorry I don't have much more words. It's also very late. It's like 4 a.m. And I want to go watch fucking Chucky. So, cool. Awesome. Thank you, Horror Pack. Let's see if we can get the next box out next week. The Possession of Hannah Grace is not at all what I was expecting. And quite honestly, I really enjoyed this one. Now, I did take a brief adjustment period in the very beginning, just because it wasn't what I was thinking, and I'm going to keep it vague here. I'm going to try not to do spoilers, but it's not so much a possession film itself. I thought it was going to be more about possession. So, you know, my opinions changed as the movie went on, and going in a second time would probably be worthwhile to have a better understanding of what we're doing here. It really is more of a monster stalking in a large but contained facility kind of thing, and it's done very well. I have a few nitpicks here and there with, like, sometimes they show too much. You know, there's like a moment when perhaps a body moves, and, like, you know, the person turns around and a body moves, and then they turn back around and see that it's moved, but we actually are shown it moving. It's like, I don't know that we need to do that. You could have been a little more clever with, like, the movement happens behind her body and the camera comes around, but little nitpicks like that, because ultimately it's pretty good. It takes us on a fun ride. It gives us characters I actually cared about. You know, there's some creepy imagery with the monster, if you will. And, you know, they play into the possession stuff, and that adds some other elements to it too. So it's not literally just like this possessed being tormenting this one ex-cop slash mortuary attendant. Is she an attendant? I don't know exactly what she is in that regard, but because I wouldn't think she was totally trained to. Anyways, I'm digressing, because I don't think she's doing autopsies and stuff. Maybe she is. I don't know. There's some other charming characters that work their way in and give you those kind of real life, like, what would I do kind of moments. The security guys are pretty fun. The location's fantastic. They got a great location to work with. Production and budget looks good, except, again, there's a bit of CG in here, and sometimes it's fine, sometimes it's a little off-putting because I feel like they're showing too much. It does have some good scares, some good jumps, some creep factor to it, but I would say it's maybe like it's 75 to 80% of what it could be in that regard. I don't know. That may be a crappy metric to try and throw on a film, because that really just comes down to personal taste and super subjectivity. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I really like this one. I don't know that it's super memorable in the sense that it's like, oh my God, I can't wait to watch it again because there's this moment that stands out in my mind, or that moment. But certainly it's a movie I could see you getting sucked into, like if it comes on TV or, you know, streaming like on a Tubi or something, like if that auto plays, I don't know. And you kind of get sucked into it and you could enjoy it. I wouldn't mind if I rewatch it. It's certainly worthy of rewatching. But like I said, I don't know that it stands out per se. It did really, and I mean this in the positive, because sometimes a movie makes you want to go watch another movie, and it's for negative reasons, or sometimes it, like because it's you want to go watch the better version or whatever. But in this case, I just feel like this would be like a good B picture, or even the warm-up picture, because I always thought B's should come before A's. Like watch the lesser picture leading into the better picture, but that's just my personal way of doing it. But this would be a really good B picture with, was it The Autopsy of Jane Doe? Is that the, I think the Dane DeHaan one, or I think it was Dane DeHaan? It was somebody. Because that was great and different, but similar enough in concept. But, I think this is a really worthy of your watch time, and definitely a movie that gave me more than I was anticipating or expecting from Horror Pack. I thought this might be my least favorite. I've seen most of the box this month. It is not. It's definitely in the upper half. I'll tell you that much. I got one more movie to go, but I don't know what order these come out in, so I don't want to ruin anything for you. But I definitely had a good time with this, and this is definitely the kind of movie I'm glad I get Horror Pack for, because not a movie I would have ever paid attention to on my own. And I have a feeling if I went and looked at the trailer would be misleading and not excite me to watch the movie. But having watched the movie, very, very cool. So again, if you're a Horror Pack subscriber or whatever, I highly recommend, no matter what the movies are, just make yourself watch them. Try to be in the right mood as best you can. Try to enjoy the ride as best you can. You're not always going to work. But because they will send you some things like this you would have never paid attention to otherwise, and I'm glad I paid attention to this one. So The Possession of Hannah Grace gets a nice little recommend from me for sure. So let me know if you've seen it and if you agree with any of that. You might not. It's fine. It's how art works. Enjoy it. The Frankenstein Syndrome. And this is Horror Pack number 86 or something. It's too dark to see. So this, I thought would be my favorite movie of Horror Pack this month, and I am sadly disappointed. Not terribly. There's a lot of great in here, but there are some glaring overriding issues with this for me that just constantly took me out of the film. Now, Sean, is he Sean Tretta, or does he have a different last name? And I'm just thinking of, yeah, Sean Tretta and Tiffany Shepard. Now, Tiffany, of course, always gives all, and she's fantastic. And the whole cast in this does a really good job, and they're all fantastic. The writing, the story, the concept, all excellent. That is absolutely where a guy like Sean Tretta thrives. I don't know. I'm guessing maybe this was his first feature film, because it shows that he has a crew that's very capable, but I feel it really fails in the edit and the color design, the color correction, the colorist, because these were like the two things that kind of really tore this movie down for me. And one of them is one of those things you hate to complain about, because it's kind of nice and refreshing when somebody makes sure they're trimming all the fat off a movie and like the pace just ripping roars through it. But I feel like they went really overboard with that. This movie, it never really takes time. And there's like moments when there's supposed to be kind of montages of time passing, but the pace is the same as like just regular talking scenes. Like it feels like they just wanted to go, 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 get to it, get to it, get to it. And there's no real flow or like sense of, valleys and hills. There's no roller coaster in the pacing and timing, which I found to be a bit off-putting. And the other negative, and then we'll get into all the positives, is in the color correction. It feels like they shot it on a camera that has less dynamic range than a freaking cell phone. But I think it's more likely that, because it is well lit. So and I could be wrong here. This is a personal opinion. I'm not trying to crap on anybody. Maybe it's first timers. Maybe they learn from it. I don't know. But I feel like it was well lit, because it is the kind of lighting I like. Like it is pools of light and shadow. It's not just throw up lights and light everything so we can see it and shoot the scene, which a lot of indies do. So there is some art design going on here and some cool stuff, but I feel like in post, and I love a very contrasty image. I love pushing the contrast. I love kind of, for you tech nerds that know what I'm talking about, crushing the darks in the image, but I don't like overblown highlights and lights, but I feel like they super blew out all the exposed areas and super crushed the dark areas. And maybe they were going for some vaguely black and white feel, but I found it really distracting. And it's not even so much in the darks as much as just how blown out so much of the lights are. The lighter pixels, the brighter areas of the screen. And that was just really constantly annoying me. I also think they didn't necessarily, I think it would have been more effective had they not done the wraparound trope where it's like, you'll see this right in the beginning, somebody who survived and they're kind of telling the story so they can cut back to that. I didn't find that super effective. I feel like it could have been a little stronger on the, it would have built some more tension on the other way. They do some really good stuff with the story though, some really good twists. It definitely isn't a one-note kind of concept, and I like the science of it, and it feels, and from what I know of things, seems very grounded in actual science, or at least conceptual science or theoretical sciences, and brings a bit of a From Beyond vibe in that regard. Maybe even a hint of Flatliners, of course, because we have all the medical kind of people. But a lot of the characters, I don't know, sometimes the character motivations don't feel 100% motivative. Not terribly off, but a little off. Like, again, I've seen far worse in writing. It's not super random, but it doesn't feel super accurate or correct. And that is maybe personal experience. And again, I think for myself, I may have hurt myself in overhyping it a little bit, knowing who was involved. But again, now that I've seen it, I'm like, maybe it's the first film, and, you know, proven as a writer, well proven as a writer, even a producer, but you know, maybe directing, still got to figure it out, got to find it. And I'm not like, I wouldn't give up on this, because it's good. It's not bad by any means. I quite, you know, I mean, I'm glad I watched this. I'll definitely watch this again. And there are memorable things in it, so it will stick with me a bit. But again, it was just those couple of major things of like the pacing being just breakneck at one speed the whole way through. Like, even if you're going to be breakneck, it's just, you got to vary the speed a little bit, because it's like if an entire album, you know, 12 songs, you're going to listen 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever, and they're all at the same, you know, beat per minute. That can make an album dull, versus if you at least mix it up every now and then by 10, 20, 30, 40 BPM. So I have the issue with that, and then I have the issue of how it looked, because it didn't quite land whatever I think they may or may not have been going for. But performances, again, great. You hate the people you're supposed to hate. You like the people you're supposed to like. It would have been nice to have more time to breathe with some of this. And some things are very obvious they're going to happen in the staging. It's like, you know, okay, they're about to do this thing to that person, clearly, in ways that aren't really supposed to happen. And it's a little shocking at times, but then it's not super shocking. There's some gore in it. It's good. It's fine. It's not necessarily anything to write home about, but it's nothing terrible by any means. It's well done. And at the end of the day, I am excited I have this. I think someday I will watch this again with, you know, lowered expectations, going in knowing what it is. And also, if Sean is going to keep trying to direct, awesome. Maybe by now he has. I think this is an older film. I need to look into that a little bit more and give him his proper due and respect, because, you know, he's done some really great stuff, all the way up to getting fucking amazing, legendary Scream Queen Tiffany Shepis like a real gig on Star Trek Picard. If you watch the last season, she was like the doctor on the new ship. Showed up a lot in there, because Sean writes for that, wrote for 12 Monkeys, the series, you know, a bunch of cool stuff. But also comes from some really other fun indie backgrounds too, I think. So I know she does, so I'm thinking he probably did too. I may be speaking out of turn. But anyways, Frankenstein Syndrome, or the Frankenstein Syndrome, good time. Might have been better if I knew less going in. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I don't know what's next. Or no, I guess this was last, right? Because it's a special feature once this is the last one. Thank you, Horror Pack. I'm already diving deep into next month. I'll try to get these out weekly until I get caught up. Hopefully, I might miss a week, but thank you. And also, oh, and then two, this is an older video. I just shot a newer video. I should throw this message in here for anybody watching. Horror Pack is changing a bunch of stuff. It's good. You know, but there are some changes coming, so you should have gotten an email. You're going to want to look into that. If you're a subscriber, you may want to go and you may have to unsubscribe and resubscribe to set up to new things. Price is going up a little bit. No more DVDs, Blu Ray only, but you can be grandfathered for like a year or whatever, something like that. There's stuff going on. I just wanted to throw that out there so you can move forward with it, because I think they're still doing some good stuff, and I know what's in the next few boxes. So honestly, you probably do too if you're a subscriber, but I'm excited. It's a good time. All right, thank you, Horror Pack. Let's move on to the end of this video and then to next month's box. Bye.
Okay, well, hopefully that was some fun reviewing and some fun time, but I'm going to make a prediction. Obviously, all those reviews are in the future, but I'm going to predict this is the order not only is the order I'm most excited to watch these in, but likely to be the order I most like them. I could always be wrong. Who knows? I keep an open mind about these things. But I'm most excited for the Horror Pack exclusive, which is great. Then I'm actually kind of excited for Slender Man. I don't think it's going to be great, but I'm excited for it. And I think Mary, get Mary to watch that. And then, Kicking Blood could be cool. Maybe. And I don't know, this just sounds okay. But we'll give them all a go, and you already know what I think, but I'm excited to go find out, so I'm gonna go work on that. In the meantime, comment below, let me know, have you seen any of these movies? Which is your favorite? What do you think about them? That's always welcome. Comment below, I'd love to hear what you have to say. You can also click the thumbs up button, give me the good old thumb of encouragement, as I do love to be encouraged. And remember that we will get through this. We will get through this together. Check out Horror Pack, use the code BLOODYBUTTS for your $3 off, in case you just care, you know, I'm not showing off the shirt. I heard in my head somebody commenting, like, I want to see your shirt. What's your shirt? Check out my music. Anywhere you listen to music, it's like pop punk. I love it. Anywhere you listen, look up Eric Butts, especially on Spotify. That's where it helps me the most. New stuff coming soon. Very excited about it. And you can get all that funky butts fun you're looking for over at ericbutts.com. More in the description below, so click that see more button to see more butts. Now I'm going to get out of here, and I think because I'm not feeling the best right now, I'm a little queasy today. It's weird. I'm gonna go probably just sit down and watch a bunch of horror movies tonight. Maybe even the Frankenstein Syndrome. I still have one of the July Horror Pack movies I gotta watch though, so I don't know. And then by the time you see this, either I will have or will be or just did go to Halloween Horror Nights, as well as Oogie Boogie Bash and the Joe Bob's Jamboree out in Vegas. So life is good when your eyes aren't bloody and your lungs aren't hacking and your stomach is settled. All right, love y'all. Bye, you spooky, foolish mortals.